Good day, folks. Happy Thursday. How is everyone doing? Brad here with Freelancing Freedom, doing our weekly office hours live. We're live. Just please confirm in the comments section that we're good. You can see and hear me. Everything's good. And then we can get started with the questions and all the fun stuff that will promptly ensue. While I sip on my bubbly sparkling water. We're live. Thank you, Alea. Thank you, everyone, for letting me know. Thank you, Michelle. Hello, everyone. Shout out to Aaron. Looks like Aaron's here. Alea, excited to see you here, Michelle. Who else is here? Let me know. Say hi. Don't be shy. I want to make sure that everybody feels welcome and loved. And hey, Maxime. It's great to see some familiar faces here from Freelancing Freedom. I really like that. So, as usual, how these office hours work is I'm going to be going through and answering questions live in the comment section. I'm also going to be, we're trying to work out our system and for collecting questions. Of course, we have the submissions in the link. It's in the description of this live stream. We email it out to the students. We do our best to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask your questions. Priority is given to the students at freelancingfreedom.com. Outside of that, we will answer questions from people who are not students because this is a public live stream used as a vehicle to spread the message of Freelancing Freedom and to also show people all the fun things that we're doing here at Freelancing Freedom. So the type form is there for you to submit your questions. Usually how it works is people are a little bit shy at first, but then as we get going, they have questions, a topic comes up, and then they go, oh, I have a question on that. So feel free to ask a question at any point in the chat, or if you want it to be anonymous, or if you want to have it recorded, in a way that we can specifically address your question. Sometimes in the live chat, your questions might get lost in the activity, but that link will give you your type form. So anyway, before I ramble on, I tend to do that. Wanted to say hi. It looks like we got Thomas here, Alicia, Olatomide, Soham. How's it going, everybody? This is great. Soham asks, what is that? First question of office hours. What is Freelancing Freedom? It's my website. It's it's basically my website that has a couple of courses teaching people how to find their purpose and build a business around something that they love, typically with starting as a freelancer and a service, starting small and then growing from there. So freelancingfreedom.com, check it out. You can get yourself started with some free resources. There's a free webinar there, and there's a nice introductory course to help you get started. We are full swing in the process of revamping Freelancing Freedom itself, the brand, the purpose, the vision for it, and ultimately what affects you the most, the courses. And so I'm really excited to talk about that as well. David says, hello, watching from Rio de Janeiro. Very cool. This is awesome. I like this. Okay, so I'm going to jump into it here, answer some questions. And if you have any questions that come up throughout, don't hesitate to use the link or ask in the chat box. Okay, let me just pop this chat out so I can make sure I see you and your comments. Okay, cool. So first question is Aaron. Aaron is a student at Freelancing Freedom, and he is always here. He's always asking great questions. So I appreciate you doing that, Aaron. I think your questions add a lot of value to people watching because you ask questions that other people want to ask but are afraid to ask. So very brave and courageous. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's see here. Pulling it up. I'm going to read it out. Whoops. Here we go. I've been working with my current client for almost a year now, building his brand and producing an app. He's pretty much the best client I've ever had. Our relationship is quite strong and he trusts me completely. However, I'm starting to feel like a horrible consultant to him because of the trouble I've had getting his app developed and deployed to the App Store. The developer we hired initially did a bad job on development, and so we ended our contract with him before he finished. Now I'm looking into getting an agency to finish the job, but I'm worried that the price won't be in line with what he can afford right now. He's already spent a lot of capital on this project, and I feel bad not delivering on the product from the first developer. I've been doing a lot of free consultation and project management for him, trying to finish the project, and I'm starting to feel burnt out. I guess my question is, how do I get past the feeling like I'm swindling away my client's budget? And what are some strategies for avoiding situations where I feel the need to work for free and make up for a poor experience? Whoa, that is a meaty one. That is a big question. Props to you, Aaron, for asking that question, because there are probably a lot of people here who wonder that themselves in their own way, whether they're in the same level as you, or getting there, have been there in a different niche, and are curious about that, struggle with that. So thank you for that question. I'll try and address each of the points here, and I'll try and use brevity where possible. I find that sometimes I ramble on, and I don't want that to get in the way of doing my best to answer your question. Okay, so it sounds like you have a great relationship, so that's good. When you come across problems with someone you have a good relationship with, you can kind of work through them, and they have more grace for you. So that's good. But getting to the point here where you said, I'm starting to feel horrible because basically it seems like you can't quite pull through like you promised, or you can't quite pull through as easily as you promised with the development of the app, getting it into the App Store. And now you're looking to have an agency, someone more professional, get it done, but you're worried about the budget. Okay. And you feel bad because the capital he's spending, he's really investing a lot of money in this, and you feel bad that you are not quite able to deliver how you promised. So as your way of coping with that and trying to make up for it, you've been giving a lot of free consultation and project management. So, okay. It sounds like you may have bit off a bit more than you can chew, but that's not necessarily the bad part. The bad part is that you may have, you promised what you had for that person, for your client. You undervalued what was going to come in. You didn't quite see what was going to happen. You didn't account for contingency and major roadblocks. The bigger the budget, the bigger the problems. We know the phrase, more money, more problems. Same thing in freelancing, same thing in business. Bigger the budget, the bigger the problems. Bigger the budget, the bigger the bugs, okay? So you did underbid the project. That's a fact. You probably should have bid at least twice the amount, because the bidding that would have happened from competitors of yours would have been agencies and people who would be working with agencies and probably would have charged at least twice your price. So you did appeal to him probably because the price, and also you have a great relationship. So you have that on your side. The problem is with that budget, it puts you in a corner that is making you almost regret your decision to start with that. So for the future, there's some learning lessons here. So we'll address what you should do right now in the current time in a moment. But for the future, there's obviously a learning lesson here. You're a smart fellow. You probably already know what it is. In the future, charge higher. Know what you can and cannot offer. And that's not saying you specifically. You as an artist, you as a craft, you as what you can offer specifically, your skill set, that's one thing. But in business, what you can do doesn't really matter. It's who you can surround yourself with. You should know, any good entrepreneur knows how to surround themselves with people smarter and better than them. A good entrepreneur can arrange a really great team to develop the best product for the client. Sometimes it's just you, other times it's you and a person or a small team. So for you, it's knowing your limitations, how you can fill those gaps, understanding that you underbid the project. So moving forward, you need to know, okay, app projects, this sort of, arranging projects and project managing these size of projects require a bigger budget, more contingency. So that's a great learning lesson moving forward. And regarding hiring the right people, that comes with a little bit of trial and error and experience. So you'll know next time not to hire that person or a person like that person. Maybe it's an agency and maybe you account for that. Or maybe it's somebody who has a better track record, hiring a freelancer who can do the job and pull through, or hiring an agency that can do the job and pull through, and you account for that in your budget. You get what you pay for. If you're paying for a low grade, if your budget is low grade, given the task, you're probably going to get a low grade result. And that looks bad on you. You don't want that. It's better to be positioning yourself as premium, charging premium prices, and having people have to say no to you, or you turning away clients because of your budget and your premium positioning, than to underbid and overpromise and underdeliver. That's going to make you look bad. At least you have a good relationship. So he's going to have more grace for you, but only to a certain point. And then he's going to go, this isn't working, or he's going to start taking advantage of your panicking and giving him a lot of free stuff. So moving to this timeline right now, to the end of your question is, how do I get past the feeling like I'm swindling his budget? What are some strategies for avoiding where I can feel the need to work for free to make it for a poor experience? Be a man, be a gentleman, stand up and face it and embrace it. Apologize for any inconvenience. Be honest. Honesty is the best policy. Don't make it look like you're sweating and struggling. A good project manager, and it wasn't a project manager, it was a colleague who was further down the line who owns an agency. He said, never let your client know that you're sweating, more or less. And it was more so they shouldn't see the mess that goes on behind the scenes. They should only see the best version of yourself, of your business, and your project manager, yourself. What they get needs to be something that doesn't make them panic and feel like you can't do this. So balance being completely honest and transparent with being professional. You still need to have boundaries. If you just start giving stuff away for free and feeling bad and sorry for what you did, you are going to be taken advantage of. They're going to lose trust in you, because if you start panicking like that, and you're still giving them valuable stuff for free, they're going to see that as a sign of the ship is sinking and the captain is freaking out. He's throwing a bunch of stuff at me to distract me from the problem. Face the problem, embrace it, apologize if you need to, be honest and transparent and upfront. Set boundaries. You still need to do that. And be honest about what you need to do moving forward. If you made a mistake, admit it, but in a way that person's not going to lose trust in you. You can do that in a way that they can go, okay, I see that you're owning up to any sort of inconvenience that you've given to me, but you're taking care of it. As long as you can take care of it. Now, that will mean probably you're going to need more budget from them, or you're going to need to set boundaries. Or you have to give them options. Instead of just saying, I need an extra $10,000 from you, give them some options. You're going to need more time. You're going to need more budget. You're going to need X, Y, or Z. You did get yourself in a situation that is a little messy. I've been in that situation before, so I get it. And everybody here is going to be in that situation in some way, shape, or form in their business. So it's an important learning lesson. The value you're going to get from this is not the high budget. It's the learning lesson. You might lose a client over it. You might, chip your reputation just a little bit, but you can also use a bad situation and make it a little bit sweeter, and use it to your advantage. A bad review on Yelp is only bad until the business owner responds to it in kind and addresses it and is honest, and people will then see, wow, they really did a good job of dealing with that. I trust them more from a bad review. So in this sort of situation, you could use this to your advantage to further your business and to deeper your relationship and further your reputation as a good business owner. Aaron, you say, have actually done a good job of covering up the mess and not panicking with him. Good. The way I've set up the project, though, is in a way that they are purchasing the development from the vendor directly. Okay, so he knows it's not me asking for additional capital. So for you as the project manager, it's to be honest about the direction, what needs to happen, and what's required of him, and giving him some options. Avoiding situations you need to feel like you need to work for free to make it for a poor experience. Try and make it a better experience. Don't try and embrace it as a poor experience, because that's going to come across to the client. Set boundaries, be professional. Even in a bad situation, you have to be professional. So I hope that helps. That was a big, deep question. So I'm hoping that gives you a little bit of, if not guidance, maybe a little bit of relief to know that, you're not alone. That's happened to many others before. It's going to happen to others. And this is going to be a learning lesson for you. Do your best, be professional, be a gentleman, and move forward with honesty, integrity, giving them some options. Do your best to close up the project. So I hope that helps, Aaron. Okay, so that was that question. Let's jump into another question here from Mike. Mike asks, my blog is centering on giving bloggers the knowledge and resources to enhance their blog with audio. I'm generating both a Start Today handout and an advanced tools, resources, and how they rank ebook. I'm following up each handout with a survey. My question is, what kind or what level of feedback do I ask for to determine what content can be included in a course or purchasable ebook? Okay, thank you for your question, Mike. It looks like you're making progress from the last time we did office hours on your blog. So I'm going to look at your question again here one more time. What level of feedback do I ask for to determine what content can be included in a course or purchasable ebook? So I think about the end result here. The point of why you are doing this, the point of why you're even developing a Start Today handout and an advanced tools, resources, and how they rank ebook. The purpose of that is to add value and solve a specific problem, answer a question, give your audience the ability to do it themselves, further themselves, solve their own problem, make it easier. So when you're asking for the level of feedback, don't just ask questions outright like, what would you like to see in this? Or what should I make? Or what should I, this is the thing. Steve Jobs, no, there's a couple. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Henry Ford said, more or less, maybe Alea can find the quote, or anyone who wants to race to try and find the quote, you're more than welcome. But basically he said, if I asked people what they wanted, this is in regards to market research, they would have said a faster horse or faster carriage, but I'm pretty sure it was just a faster horse. So what he did was he made the motor car. So he had this sort of prophetic sort of insight to foresight to say that if I just ask people what they want, they have a problem. If they knew how to solve their problem, they wouldn't have that problem. So I need to figure it out for them. They think that it's a faster horse. I think it's a motor car. Steve Jobs was the same thing. Steve Jobs, when he was alive and the CEO of Apple, he famously didn't do market research. He didn't ask his audience what they wanted because he said, they don't know what they want. You're supposed to give it to them. You're supposed to have the foresight to be able to give that to them, to be able to, thanks Alea, she posted Henry Ford, innovation, and that faster horse quote. If I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Exactly. Steve Jobs was the same thing. If I asked people what they wanted, we wouldn't have had the iPad, iPhone, iPod. Wouldn't have had these products. They would have just said, a bigger computer or a clunkier computer or whatever. And I think we kind of see it as Steve Jobs passed away, and I might be wrong here, but this is just kind of my own opinion. Apple notoriously, and I love Apple, but I understand that there's more than one type of device and product out there. but I've only used Apple products because that's what I've used for so long. When Steve Jobs was alive, Apple really innovated. It seemed like they made really great products, and they would come out of nowhere and you'd go, what is that? iPad, iMac, iPhone, iPod? And it broke ground. And maybe it's because now we're in a time where we've already invented all the cool things and now we just have to incrementally improve them. But I disagree, because probably 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you would have thought the same thing. With the faster horses, you would have said, how do we make faster horses? Do we breed faster horses? No, we totally break ground and try something different that no one ever has known before. Nowadays, Apple just seems to follow the trends. Steve Jobs said, I'm not making a bigger iPhone because people don't need a bigger iPhone. They think they do. They think they want a bigger screen, but that's hard on your hands. That's, and I'm not directly quoting him here, but I remember seeing an interview or a snippet where he said that's not what they need. That's not what they want. Or that's not what they really need. They want that, but they don't need it. They don't know. And Apple now has every size of iPhone, every color of iPhone. iPhones now are this big, just like all the other Samsung phones and other phones that aren't as outstandanding. Alea posts the quote, "The iPhone will fail. It doesn't even have buttons." That was, what was his name? Last name was Ballmer of Samsung or whatever. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So my point here is that I'll get back to your question here, Mike. I'm kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent here. So my point here is you need to be the one who understands how to solve the problem. If they knew how to solve their own problem, then why would they go to you? Why do they even have the problem? So there's an element of you needing to try and get yourself there and trying to develop a solution to the problem. So directly back to your question, what level of feedback do I ask for to determine what content can be included in a course or purchasable ebook? It's asking them things that you can read between the lines so that you can develop a solution. So instead of saying, what do you want for my first course? People will say things like, as you'll see here in my YouTube chat, Brad, make a React.js course. Brad, talk about PHP version 7 or 8 or whatever. Brad, what's the next programming language? Brad, create a course on this. Brad, create a course on this. Brad, how do I get clients and make $1 million? Brad, if people say that they know what they want, but if they knew how to solve their own problems, then they wouldn't have those problems. They have the problems, and therefore here we are trying to figure out how to start a business, how to find our purpose, how to grow. We're here because we don't quite have the answer. And my job is to try and give you the direction. Your job, Mike, is to read between the lines, discover what their problem is, get feedback from them that is not asking their feedback or advice on what you should create. It's what do you need? What do you struggle with? What keeps you up at night? In regards to topic X, so for you, your blog, what questions do you have about this? If you had a magic wand, this is one that Pat Flynn uses all the time. If I gave you a magic wand and you could solve your number one problem for your blog, what would that look like? What would that do? So it's not, what should my course outline be? That's not going to work. You're just creating faster horses. You need to be able to invent the motor car. So I'm not trying to say here, try and break ground and invent something totally new. It's more so reading between the lines and trying to give the person what they actually need, not what they think they want. If that was me, I would just be creating the latest and be every single day posting new tutorials on the latest programming languages that I don't care about. For me, I'm going up above and beyond that. Alea says, so it's not enough to just solve the issue. You have to figure out why they can't solve it themselves. What is the block? Genius. Thank you. I don't consider myself a genius, kind of a fool, but I do my best. So if that's what you can glean from that, amazing. That's the point. You want to not just solve the issue. You don't want to just give them a Band-Aid. You want to eliminate the problem altogether. You want to figure out why they can't even do it themselves. So a lot of the times people will say, Brad, why can't I get clients? I'm on Upwork all the time. I'm doing Fiverr, or I'm an introvert, so I can't talk to people. Therefore, I can't have clients. if I were just to say, here's a tactic for introverts, here's a technique for, getting extra, money. Here's a tactic, a strategy, a technique. Great. There's a time and place for that. And when you're in the right place to receive that, you can really make something magic with that. You can really do some positive, really good with that. But if you don't address the actual problem, if you're just giving yourself medicine and just getting rid of, the cough, you want to get to the source. You want to find out why it's not being solved. Going back, maybe it's their mindset. Maybe it's a question. Maybe it's a specific place that they are in their lives. Maybe it's something that they're doing. Maybe it's something that they don't believe in. Maybe it's, you can go really deep with that. You can go infinitely deep with that. So I'm not saying create an existential crisis around yourself and your customers. Business, when distilled into a basic formula, is audience, what their problem is, give them a product that solves the problem, rinse, repeat, invest money in it, grow it. There you go. That's it. That's all business is. But it's more than that, because you know that. Business is, who's your customer? What's their problem? Develop a solution for it. Ask for money. Rinse, repeat, grow. But why aren't we all millionaires? Why aren't we all developing groundbreaking products and services? Why are we struggling with it? There's a lot to answer that question. And that's what I'm addressing with Freelancing Freedom. That's what I'm doing with these new products, these new courses, is going back to where you don't even realize you need to go back. So for you, Mike, it's, again, not just solving the issue, not just asking them what you need to do to solve their issue, because why don't they just do it themselves? They can't. They don't know how. Figure out why they can't do it themselves. Give them something in your handout and in your tools, resources, and your tools and resources ebook, how you can go deeper and solve the actual problem. Does that make sense? Does that help? Not only for Mike, but for others here. That's something that you need to consider. If people knew what they wanted, if people knew how to solve their problems, then they would solve them. Yet here we are. Henry Ford, when asked, if I asked people what they wanted, they just would have said faster horses, and we wouldn't have motor cars. We wouldn't have the Tesla. Okay, cool. Thanks, Mike, for that question. That's awesome. Cool. I'm liking these questions. I'm going to jump into let me see. Aaron, I'm going to jump back to Aaron because I did see you had a question regarding your first topic there. So I'll see if I can address it quickly before we move on to the next question. How do you set up boundaries like the ones I mentioned in my first question when you know they don't have the budget to continue paying and don't have the knowledge to handle the remainder of the project? The answer does not lie within you sacrificing yourself. There is an element of you needing to make some exceptions, of course. But you sacrificing yourself because you made a mistake and screwing yourself over and driving yourself to the ground, that's not going to work. That's not going to serve you. It's not going to serve your client. It's not going to get anybody anywhere. So setting boundaries is difficult, but very important. In fact, do I have my phone? I don't know where my phone is. Great. I don't have my phone here. Perfect. I live by practice what I preach. Put your damn phone away and do your work without your phone distracting you with a bunch of people's stupid opinions. Anyway, back on track, Brad. Okay. There's a book. Alea, can you please link this up if possible? Called How to Set Boundaries. This is very, very vague. There's probably a lot of boundaries books out there. This is why if I had my phone, I could show you my Audible account. It's basically how to set boundaries. And it's a pretty popular book, and it addresses how you can set boundaries. People are really bad at setting boundaries, getting good at saying no. So I know that didn't give you much to work off of there, but there's a book about that. So, Aaron, I hope that helps. You are in a bit of a difficult situation. There is no easy way out, but boundaries will be important. Don't sacrifice everything. You are going to have to make some exceptions. Do your best to get yourself through the project. not necessarily, you're going to have to do it over time and over budget, but do your best to gracefully get yourself through the project and wrap it up. Okay, next question. Looks like Mike and Alicia say that makes sense. The problem is the focal point. Thank you. Cool. I'm glad that I was able to help you with that question. Now, Mike has another question. I'm going to jump to Mike again. Thank you for these questions. Mike asks, for my niche, showing bloggers how to enhance their content with audio, I'm developing 2 levels of freebies. Now, it's possible that this is the same question. It is the same question, just worded differently. Okay, sorry. I don't think it's different, so I'm not going to answer that question just because it's the same. We're going to jump into another question here. Auntie Thomas, forgive me if I pronounce the name wrong, asks, if we simplify the thing that we're providing to the client, it boils down to this. Solution equals website plus visitors. I'm going to repeat that formula that you presented. If we simplify the thing that we're providing to the client, it boils down to this. Solution equals website plus visitors. Forgive me, I'm not entirely following the formula. I'll do my best to come back to it. Maybe you'll explain it more here. The mere fact that we've built a website for a client will not solve his problem if no one can find it. Okay. How can we master the second part of this equation? Because it requires to come up with a whole strategy that entails SEO, search engine optimization, for those who don't know, email marketing, Google, Facebook campaigns, Google reviews, and whatnot. Can we really know all this stuff? If we don't, is this something we need to think about when proposing the solution to the client if we want to avoid being perceived as a commodity? Thanks. Okay. Interesting question. So I might disagree with you on a few things here and try and expand on what you're talking about. So you say that providing and delivering the solution to the client, the formula boils down to website plus visitors equals solution. I think those are parts of the equation, but I don't think that that's the equation in and of itself. And the fact that you and maybe others believe that that's the equation is where you might be leading yourself astray. The formula, I mentioned it at the top of this a few minutes ago. The formula for business at its core is you have an audience, you understand their problem, and you develop a solution to that problem. That's the basic formula. And then from there, you can add pieces into it, which is where what your formula comes in. So if that's the basic formula, audience and their problem, and then you develop a solution to that problem, you need a way to get the right people in front of that solution so that they can go, I need that to solve my problem. How do you get that? How do you get them to see that? Well, that's where marketing channels come in. That's where SEO can come in. That's where email marketing and paid advertising and different marketing channels can come into play to put your message and your solution in front of the person who has the problem so that they can make that connection. And you can do additional things like educating the customer with brand awareness and showing that here's the problem that you experience and agitating the problem and using basic marketing strategies like the problem agitation solution method, which is present the problem. Do you struggle with X? Agitate the solution, agitate the problem. It really sucks when you wake up in the morning and your back is stiff. Cue B-roll of man doing awkward back touch. Well, the solution is this product. I know that's a really cheesy way of putting it, but you can see, you've seen that everywhere, and it might look dumb, but there's a more sophisticated way of doing that. So that's the true way of marketing that and getting it in front of them. That's one of the formulas. So let me get myself back on track here. The point is not solution equals website plus visitors. The actual formula is audience, problem, solution. Get the solution in front of them, agitate the problem, help educate them to understand how your solution fixes the problem. Marketing channels come into play. Technical things come into play like SEO, email marketing. All of this stuff can come into play, but they are not in and of themselves what you need. So you said, how can we master the second part of this equation, website and visitors? Because it requires that you do all of the monkey dance, is what I call it. It requires you do all of the things that everyone else is doing. It requires you try to compete in SEO. In Seth Godin's new book, This is Marketing, which Mike, I saw that you got that book. Good job, dude. That's awesome. I just finished it. It is 5 stars. I recommend it to everybody here. And maybe you've even read this part, Mike. The thing that he says, he has a section in the book that says SEO is a lie, or SEO is ridiculous. You know, thinking that you can compete with a generic search term like, let's use Mike's example here. You know, to answer Auntie's question, Mike has, providing education and products to help bloggers level up their blogging and incorporate audio. If Mike was trying to get number 1 in Google for how to add audio to my blog or something generic like that, you're going to have a whole bunch of people. That's expensive. It's very difficult, if not near impossible, despite what you might find on the internet. Of course, an SEO strategist is going to tell you that it's possible. But if you're competing for that, then you're playing the wrong game. What you want is people searching for you. You want people searching for Mike writing. You want people searching for Auntie Thomas or whatever your business is. You want people searching for you. When I look on my Google search results, I could try and compete for how to start a freelance business, but that's going to be hard. What I want is people searching Brad Hussey or Freelancing Freedom, because I know those people are looking for me. That's what you want. That's the highest value search. The person looking for you, not the person looking for some generic term that you're going to compete with, and Google changes its algorithm, and then boom, you're on the second page, you lost all your funding, or you're dedicating all your money to Facebook campaigns, Google changes its algorithm, boom, now your ad that once gave you $2 for every dollar you spent now is no longer profitable, and your $1 million ad campaign goes down the drain. There goes your business. So can we really know all this stuff? Even if we don't, should we be trying to do the monkey dance and try and do all these things? It's not about the skills. It's not about the tactics. It's not about the techniques and all of the buzzwords you're going to find nowadays. Yes, the Facebook expert is going to tell you that you need Facebook ads. Yes, the SEO strategist is going to tell you you need SEO. Yes, the Google person is going to tell you need Google ads, or you need Google business, whatever, or you need to do social media marketing, or you need to do video, or you need to do courses, or you need to do this. What I'm trying to tell you is you don't need any of that. What you need is to know your audience. You need to know what they struggle with. And you need to create something that helps them, that solves that problem for them. And you need to be that, as Seth Godin says, the linchpin for that type of person, for that audience. You don't need to affect everybody, just the right people. And you need to be that linchpin so that they can say your name when they're asked, who would you miss if they went away? You want that to be you or your business. So, and that's all Seth Godin. That I'm gleaning that from his books. I'm a huge fan of his. I truly love his work, and I suggest you read every single book that he's ever created, which is a lot of books. So Auntie and everyone else here, it's not about the website and the visitors and the traffic and the conversion strategy, the conversion rate and the click-through rate and the ad spend, and those are just aspects. If the internet went away, of course, that would create a lot of other problems, but if the internet went away, the formula should still remain. Audience, their problem, you provide a solution. Of course, some of us, like Mike, would no longer be in business because now there's no longer a blog. But the idea is the formula still remains. You could still Find somebody who you care about, who they represent, and you care about that type of person. You want to solve the problem, the thing that keeps them up at night. So you develop a solution, whether that's a service, a consultation, a coaching, a product, a widget, a gizmo, a gadget, a direction. That's business. That's the formula. The solution does not equal website plus visitors. That's just something you can add in. I hope, and that, to finalize that question, is how you do not become a commodity. If you can add value and affect change in the people you care about with your products and services, you are no longer a commodity. You are a valuable investment in that person's business and life. Thank you for the question, Auntie. I hope I got your name right. That was a really exciting question, so thank you for asking that. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Let's jump into the next question. Oh, Michelle has a question. Okay. Let me just pull it up here. Okay. Looks like this might be a technical question. Let's see. Michelle asks, what methods do you use to test ADA compliance? Which I am looking to make sure I'm getting this right. The Department of Justice says that the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA Standards for Accessible Design, in September 2010. These standards were, they state that all electronic information technology must be accessible to people with disabilities. Okay, yes. So what methods do you use to test ADA compliance? Do you hire someone or test yourself? If you test yourself, how long does it usually take you? I feel like this particular part of the web design process isn't covered in courses I take, and it takes me a long time. It's a cumbersome part of the development process, since not complying properly could actually have legal ramifications. Okay, so I'm going to first and foremost, Michelle, and everybody listening here, going to remove myself from any sort of liability with how I answered this question. Seeking the advice of legal counsel and, having an expert make sure that you are compliant with any legal issue with your website, online or otherwise, is the best choice. That said, let's see. With the reason why there isn't a lot of material on addressing these issues, addressing ADA compliance, specifically in the USA, is because people don't know about it. People don't know that it's a thing. Some people know that you should be a good person and not make your stuff inaccessible. And some people know that, the alt attribute within a HTML tag is so that somebody who is visually impaired could then listen with their audio device to explain what image is being displayed on the screen. We know that these things are there. Some of us know, that they're like extra bonuses or something like that, but most people don't know that it is a real thing, that there could be legal ramifications. Have people really been pursued legally for these sorts of things? I don't know. Maybe a quick Google search would answer that question. But I doubt that people are being sued left, right, and center because they didn't fully comply with ADA compliance, especially if they're a small business or they're a small website or it's just for a niche group of people. That said, I'm not saying you should rely on that and who cares, because that's not nice. In fact, I myself am doing my best and my part with my site, to my courses with Freelancing Freedom. We're trying to make it so that our video courses are accessible to specifically Harold, and who Harold represents, which is the deaf community. He can see me, but he cannot hear me. Partly why I do this on YouTube. He can then afterwards watch the video and see the captions that are generated. In our courses, especially the new courses, we are going to be having a professional service add captions to the videos so that people like Harold and anyone else who is deaf, which at this point I think is only one person in Freelancing Freedom, maybe two, will be able to access the video and get the same value. So that's the point of ADA compliance, is so that you can have your content and your products and services be accessible to people with disabilities, visual impairment, hearing impairment, or otherwise. Alea says, I don't think it originally included websites. So again, this is where you got to do your due diligence. If you're really concerned about it, then do your due diligence, ask an attorney, do some research on it. Maybe if it's something that you are passionate about, or anybody here, you can provide a resource for that, because clearly it's a problem. You see a problem and it's not solved. No one addresses it. How do you make that accessible to people? Forgive the pun there. I didn't really mean to use that. How do you make that information accessible so that people can truly be ADA compliant? Is there a tool out there that tests for it? Is there a service? This could be something that people like Harold, or someone who actually has a disability, or someone who cares to help people with disabilities. This is potentially an idea, a business idea, a website idea to create something that solves that problem. Michelle says, thanks for answering. I had a client reach out for my services because their current site didn't comply and were forced to settle. Been freaked out about my work and compliance ever since. I get that, you get an edge case and then it freaks you out about everything else. That's not in any way me saying you should then who cares, the chances of it happening are low. That's not what I'm saying. If it does concern you, it is important for you to check into it. And that goes for everybody here. That's why there's earnings disclaimers on blogs, affiliate disclaimers. You're supposed to let people know, that when you click on that link, that this person gets a commission. So whenever I give you a link to an Amazon book or a product or a software, always assume that I get an affiliate commission. And that's just transparency. So that I get rewarded for it. Now, to be a good and honest person, you could say, I actually tried this thing out. It actually is valuable, and I think you should try it. Mind you, at no expense to you, I get a $19 bonus for having you sign up. So, but everyone knows how that works. Going back to ADA compliance, do you hire someone, test it yourself? You can test it yourself. Maybe try and find some software or some services out there that could expedite the process. I'm sure there are some validators and some software that can automate parts of it so you can check it off. Maybe you can create a master list that say, these are all of the compliance things that I need to be compliant with on my sites, so that when you develop a site for a client, make sure that you have a budget that's contingent on making sure the site and the product is ADA compliant. It's going to take you 5 hours. It's a big project, 5 hours, an extra 8 hours. It's 2 hours. And you yourself, or you hire somebody, subcontract somebody to make sure that you are 100% ADA compliant. So it shouldn't matter if it's something that you're offering. And in your case, Michelle, and in many cases here for people who are building websites and such, it's important. Have that in your budget to ensure that you're ADA compliant. Here's why that matters. And, charge for it. Just as you would charge for making sure that your website is responsive and accessible on mobile devices. Certainly at some point, that's probably going to be legislation. At some point, we're going to say your website has to be accessible on a phone. Otherwise, you can have legal ramifications. At least Google penalizes you for not being mobile friendly. So some things to think about. I hope that answered your question. Thank you for the question. It was a good one. I really appreciate it. Alea says, integrating best practices when building web projects is great, but I would agree with Brad that seeking the advice of an attorney so that you're clearly aware of what the compliance entails. Yes. Thank you for that question, Michelle. That was awesome. Okay. Another question here. As we wrap up the hour, this was nice. These are really good back-to-back questions. Good job, guys. How do you get pumped? Oh, I like how this is starting. How do you get pumped and amped up, or whatever phrase you use, when you're feeling burned out or depressed at your day job? Not sure what you have to offer as for a niche, kind of a jack of all trades, far from master of anything, maybe good at looking things up, get bored during doing the same things day after day. Oh, so you're not sure what you have to offer. You're kind of a jack of all trades. Maybe you're good at looking things up and you get bored doing the same thing. Okay. This is great. This is the kind of topic that I actually been writing about a lot in the new course for Freelancing Freedom. Wow, my face is really shiny. There we go. Whatever. Anyway, let's get back to this. In my new course, Launch Your Freelance Business for Freelancing Freedom, the stage 1 course, already been filming a lot of lessons. I just wrapped up filming a lesson moments before. Aaron, it must be the Buble. Maybe it is. It's giving me that orange glow. No, it might be the... No, you think this would work? Like film makeup so that you're not shiny on camera. It's not working, okay? Still see some shine. I want the healthy glow, not the shine. Okay, anyway. I've been writing a lot about this in the course. Mindset, unlocking your potential, the foundational aspects of growing a business. Instead of starting at the tactics and all the things, you're going to find that everywhere, the tactics, but still people are failing at it. Aaron, it's film makeup, okay? It's film makeup. It's not real makeup, okay? I have a theater background. I have experience with putting stage makeup on. So you got that right, balanced look. Anyway, okay, I'm really losing track here. This train is going astray. So let's try and bring it back. How do you get amped up when you're feeling burnt out or depressed at your day job? Okay, so you need to go back to the start. You need to go back to the beginning. And what I'm trying to do, the work I'm trying to do with Freelancing Freedom, is to help you find your purpose, find that meaning, find that true north, find something that what's within your heart, and grow from there. Find it, discover what you're passionate about, why you're here, and then build a business based on the thing that you love or something that you enjoy, something that you can see yourself waking up and being jacked, being pumped to do it. Finding that is key. Most people aren't going to find that in their day job. Now, I'm not saying that you should just quit your day job and you're never going to find meaning and purpose in your day job, because it's not all about starting a business either. For me, that's the angle I take. For other people, they want to just have a day job and they're cool with that, but they are not happy in it. How can they find it? And that goes deep. I don't think there's a tactic or a strategy or trick that can solve that problem. I can give you a technique, meditate more, or, read this, or read motivational quotes on Pinterest, or do less Facebook, or any of that sort of stuff. But it actually goes way deeper than that. Understanding who you are, the vision, mission, and values that you have, your core principles, having something bigger than yourself, not making life about you, making it about selfless service. There's a lot that goes into that, that maybe I need more time than 3 minutes to answer. So it sounds like you want to be able to start a business. You want to offer something, but you just feel like you're not that good at something specific. You're kind of a jack of all trades. You can do whatever. You can Google stuff and, but you get bored doing the same thing 9 to 5, day in, day out. And you wondered, is this what my life is about? Where you are, my friend, and where many folks are in that stage, I was there as well. It's that stage. It's that little bit of an existential crisis where you go, is this it? Is this all there is? Is this what my life is going to be? That sucks. And with Freelancing Freedom, especially this new course that I'm trying to develop here, that I'm developing here, it addresses that in a really deep and big way. Unlike what I've been able to find in material on the internet, in advice, in the sound bites, in the YouTube videos, in the flashy stuff, and the Gary Vaynerchuk, inspired pseudo entrepreneurs who are, trying to further their own thing. I'm trying to create something that really addresses something way deeper. And instead of jumping straight into the tactics and the strategies, I'm addressing these really deep existential problems in the best way that I possibly can from my humble position. So I can't give you a specific tactic, but you need to be able to understand what drives you, who you are, do some work on yourself, understanding what's your life about? Where do you envision it? Craft a personal vision, mission, and principles statement. This is directly from the course and inspired by great people who've come way before me. Understand your vision. What do you see your life 20, 30 years from now? That legacy, that, that blue sky idea of what your life could be. What do you envision it being? What do you do? Who are you? Where do you live? What's your life look like? Who are you with? What do you wake up excited to do? What do you envision yourself being? And they say, I've heard it said, write your own eulogy. So at the end of your life, you don't want someone to say, well, he was selfish and really just looked out for himself, made some money and did some really bad things with it. And generally just a jerk. Yeah, nothing good to say about him, actually. Cheers. No, you don't want that. You want this person was amazing, added value to the lives around them, was selfless, put the welfare of others ahead of himself, really made progress in this, dedicated his life to this, and was rewarded for it. And he didn't take the credit for those rewards. He still gave it away. Something like that. So understand what your vision is for your life personally. This isn't in the business. You can do this for your business as well, but you need to address yourself first. So that's your vision. And then your mission, the mission statement, personal mission statement is I like to say, this is right from the course. If the vision is the X that marks the spot on the treasure map, the mission is the dotted line that gets you there. So the mission is how you live your daily life to get yourself to that vision. And the principles and core values are the things that the rules written on your heart, not what other people say about you, not what social media and the current modern culture says is right or wrong. It's what you, in your heart, really, really believe. And it can be as simple as a simple word or a statement. Here's an example. It might be backwards, actually, so it might not actually make any sense. No, perfect, it's not. Teach everything you know. Here's another one. Create every day. Those are principles directly from ConvertKit, a software company. Their principles are create every day. Teach everything you know. Some of them for me is be a gentleman. Add value. Do your best work or don't do anything at all. So think about these things. This will help you understand right from the beginning. Who are you? What do you want? Why are you here? Start from there. I know it's not a tactic. You can get plenty of that on Instagram, but I promise you that your life's not going to be made that much better from making yourself addicted to social media and the people on it. Aaron says, Brad, can I use that analogy in my ebook I'm writing, X in the dotted line? Yes, but please attribute it to me, just because I'm pretty proud of it. I don't know if I made it up. I think I did, but I would appreciate maybe a shout out. Not for honor or to make me look good, but I don't know. Citing your sources. But of course, yes, I like that analogy. If your vision is the X that marks the spot, your vision is your mission is the dotted line that gets you there. And your principles and your core values are the rules written on your heart. They're the things that you go at every step on that dotted line. There's multiple ways to get there. If this direction has you go against your values, the law written on your heart, then don't go that way. If this other way is sketchy and it goes against the integrity of who you are as a person, it's the wrong way. If the longer way is the way that gets you to the X, but it's longer, but it aligns with your values, my friend, that's your way. Okay? Okay. Sam, Sam has a great question there. Maybe we can get to that next time. It is an interesting question. It might be perceived as a joke, but we can address that later. In the next one, Sam asks, I'm a cardiothoracic surgery resident, but I want to be a billionaire. I can't make the leap into starting my own biotech company, even though I really want to, but I love my job. Okay, first of all, aspiring to be a billionaire is going to make you very unhappy. the millionaire mindset, the billionaire mindset especially, is not about aspiring to be a billionaire. It's aspiring to create massive change, massive value, and the byproduct of that is financial success. Be that hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, or for a very select few of the world, billions. They don't seek out to be a billionaire. You can make money fast, but chances that you're going to get to where you're actually trying to be and the change you're trying to make, people will see through and realize this person only cares about money. They're not going to be rewarded. So your financial well-being is in many ways a direct reflection of the value you bring to the market and your customers and the change that you can affect. So, Sam, maybe we can address that question in a deeper way next Thursday. Alea, maybe you can actually tag that as a question, and we can get into mindset, millionaire mindset, and specifically Sam's question, whether or not it was a joke or anything. And finally, Vladimir says, can you make your hair longer again? It was good back in those days. I liked my long hair, but probably not. Maybe one day, maybe not. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. It's 5:02 my time. I should wrap up. These were great questions back to back. Really like this. I hope this was a valuable use of your time. Catch you next week for office hours on Thursday. Thank you again. Go make a difference. Go find who you really are. Do something that is worth your time. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Cheerio. And yes, Aaron, that was a British accent that I did. Bye-bye.